Welcome one, welcome all to the Q&A for May 2023. As always with the Q&As, you've got questions and I've got answers. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Our first question is from BigBus92, and they ask, how is life treating you? I hope things are going smoothly. I know in the past you've said not much goes on outside of color guard and just regular life stuff, but it's always nice to hear about how things are going with you. Thanks for the concern, Big Bus. I've been doing just fine. As of recently, more so I suppose this week, things got a little bit out of hand. You might have noticed that the video didn't come out on Monday, and that's just because there was a lot of stuff going on. Some of my friends convinced me to do drum corps over the summer, so I'm doing color guard every weekend on Saturday and Sunday, and previously I was just doing winter guard on Saturdays for most weekends, which left me with Sunday off to either catch up with stuff or just take a break. And last weekend, I didn't have that luxury, and not only that, but I also had to be at a parade on Monday, which frankly was a real pain in the ass. And then I had a Memorial Day get-together with my family and some of my friends, so there just wasn't enough time to handle everything, and yeah, it wasn't pretty, but we made it to the end of it, so we're chilling now. Other than those things though, most stuff is remaining the same. I'm still making videos, obviously, and I'm still doing the things that I like to do outside of making videos, so I'm doing fine. Next is from H_M, and they say, I've really been enjoying the Jedi Survivor series so far. Do you think you'll make a big video containing the best bits? Also, always love your videos. Thank you, H_M, and when it comes to Jedi Survivor, I'm not sure what I'm going to do when I get to the end of it, because I know for the Subnautica thing, I decided to do a supercut, and I just put together every single Subnautica video all in one video. And one thing that I was going to do back then, and I even talked about, I think in a different Q&A about doing, was holding a poll and asking people if they wanted every single video all in one place, or if they wanted me to go through and just take specific parts out of it so that way it wouldn't be 8 hours long. I never did that, I just decided to go with it, and here we are. And so I'll probably say the same thing this time around. Whether or not I'll do it, I'm not sure, but the Jedi Survivor series is getting pretty close to being finished. Ironically enough, I actually just finished editing together the very last video in that series today, the day that I'm recording the VO for this Q&A that'll probably get edited the next day. So it's winding down. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with a supercut, and I have the same sort of question when it comes to the Zelda series, because by the time you're watching this, Zelda's done. I did 2 videos on it, mostly because I just played the game. So 99% of my Zelda gameplay is just dead silent. And because of that, there's not a whole lot for me to work with, and I didn't want to pad it out either. And so there's 2 videos, so I don't really think that needs a supercut of those combined together. But the Jedi Survivor stuff, obviously, way different. Next is from Frosterno, and they say, are you going to do more videos with your friends on games you guys like playing? I think it's really enjoyable to watch you mess around with your friends on random games that aren't just Roblox. I'd like to. It's kind of hard to do that. I've talked about this a bunch before, and I was like, wait, hang on, haven't I done this? And then I looked through a lot of my previous videos, and you're right, I haven't had a video that involves other people in quite a hot minute. So I do kind of want to break that dry spell. I want to play some games with other people. But the fact of the matter is the only games that you'd probably be seeing that on are like Call of Duty DMZ, and nobody's watching those. So yeah, I'd like to do more videos playing with my friends and playing with other people, but I don't know. It's just hard to get things that I can force my friends to play with me and record it, while simultaneously also having it so people actually watch the videos. Next is from Unoriginal Name, which is quite the original name. And they say, what are your current thoughts on Tears of the Kingdom? Was it worth the wait, or do you think it could have used a bit more time? I think Tears of the Kingdom is great. I'm almost certainly going to make a full game review on both Tears of the Kingdom and Jedi Survivor at some point, because I think both those games are phenomenal and they both deserve in-depth reviews. So that'll come eventually. Nobody will watch it, but that's fine. I'm making most of those videos, or pretty much all of those videos, for myself. But regardless, just for a bit of a sneak preview into my mindset, I suppose, when it comes to Tears of the Kingdom, when I first started playing, I didn't really like it very much, I won't lie. I don't know what I expected when going in, but I think I was ruined by Jedi Survivor, because Jedi Survivor basically took everything that Fallen Order was and improved upon it. Whereas Tears of the Kingdom took a lot of things that Breath of the Wild was and just replaced them with different things. And so as a sequel goes, that feels kind of off, when there's things that you could do before but you can't anymore because they took away the runes and replaced them with your hand abilities. And I don't know, I wasn't sure what I was looking for, but I was a little bit frustrated with some technical problems I was having as well, which stemmed directly from my own hardware. My Switch SD card was malfunctioning or something, I'm not sure, but it would take like 30 hours to load a weapon. Not actually 30 hours, but way too long. It was really frustrating. But once I sorted all that and I played the game more, pretty much all of that was just first experience jitters, I guess, because it all went out the window very quickly. I think the whole time I was playing, I was trying to compare it to Breath of the Wild, and I was like, that's my favorite game of all time, so this one should be better. And the results, a lot of people I think seem to think that Tears of the Kingdom is better, and I don't. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think Tears of the Kingdom is better than Breath of the Wild. I think that it's as good as Breath of the Wild. And that might sound kind of bad until you realize that Breath of the Wild is my favorite game. Ever. Period. Which simultaneously makes Tears of the Kingdom at the same level. They're both my favorite games. I don't know what else to say other than that, though. Goofy Goblin says, have you tried to do more PvP combat-related stuff in DMZ, like Building 21 and the Koshei Complex? As I see, your DMZ gameplay is mostly completing hunt contracts on other players. Love the Jedi Survivor gameplay uploads. I'm playing vicariously through you. I appreciate you watching those, because not many people do. As for the DMZ stuff, yeah, I've played a good chunk of Building 21 and Koshei Complex and all those other things that they've added. When it comes to Building 21, though, it is kind of hard to get my friends to play it, because the two main people that I play it with, my friend Raul and my friend Luke, do not like Building 21 at all. And honestly, I'm not a huge fan of it either, but I want to get all of the weapons cases from there, and I still haven't done it, and my buddy Raul basically boycotts the map and says there's no way we'll play it. So you haven't seen basically any Building 21 whenever I play, because, well, it's a co-op game mode. I'm usually playing with my friends and they don't want to be there. As for the complex, though, we've played a lot of that. I've done the boss a few times. I think we're almost finished with the weapons case there. And I think that section and that map is a lot more fun than Building 21. I don't really know why. It's pretty similar, but actually in practice it's more fun to play. And that probably stems from it being easier to access, but I really have no clue. But at the end of the day, the main thing that my friends like to do in DMZ is fight other players. And it's honestly one of the biggest faults of DMZ, I think, is the fact that there's not a whole lot of incentive to go places other than the main maps once you already have gear, or even if you don't have gear. Like, you can go to Building 21 with nothing and leave with a 3-plate, but you're probably not going to leave with, like, a special vest unless you killed somebody. And I don't know. I just wish there were, like, either special weapons that were really strong, or better armor, or better backpacks, or something that was limited to the maps that are harder to get into to make you actually encouraged to go there. Because as it stands right now, it's like, oh, well, they have a lot of money there, but money's useless. So what does it matter? And the end result is it doesn't matter, and that's sort of part of the problem. But that's off track of the question. The takeaway is, yes, I have played those other maps, and I think they're a good amount of fun. Next is from Theodore, and they say, do you think there's any possible scenario where the YBA devs fix their damn game? Love your videos, and keep up the great work. Well, the answer for this one is no, and it's pretty much on purpose at this point. We've got it on good authority that they break the game on purpose. They put in things that are overpowered that will completely demolish the meta, because that'll get people to log in and get those things. If they weren't good, then people wouldn't bother to get them. So in that case, I understand. But what it really means is that the game is highly unlikely to ever have a point where it's well balanced, because something's always going to be broken, and whenever that thing gets patched out, they're going to introduce something else that's also broken to get people to go get that new thing. Next is from Luigi? Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I've always wondered what games you wanted to make a video on, but was restricted, believing viewers wouldn't like/enjoy it. If so, what games and why? And I mostly put this on here because I don't think there really are any games that I just directly don't make videos on that I think I could, solely because people won't watch them. I guess the only thing that directly comes to mind is like StarCraft 2, but I mean, I don't think I'd be able to make a video on that game, nor do I really play it very much anyways. But that's a kind of game where I would never make a video on it. Number one, because I don't know how, and number two, because nobody would watch it. But for other games, even if I don't think people are gonna watch them, if I have an idea for a video, I usually just make it anyway and tank the hit. And obviously, I think the most recent videos on Tears of the Kingdom and Jedi Survivor are a great example of this. None of those have done well. Literally zero. But it hasn't stopped me from making them because I enjoyed the games and I enjoy making the videos. So if both the processes are fun and the only thing that sucks is after the fact I realized that people just didn't give a shit and didn't watch it, well, so be it. That's 1 for 3, right? I suppose Call of Duty DMZ also falls under that, because I don't think there's been a single DMZ video. So maybe I gotta get on that, who knows. Next is from Mr. Fantasy, and they ask, do you ever plan on/want to make content on Smash? I saw glimpses of it in your past live streams. Not only was it in past live streams, but I think I also made a video on it in a highlights video, which I believe went up on the main channel, if I remember correctly. Not really though. Smash is a game that I think is most fun to be played with people you know, and people like of similar skill level that you know. And I don't really have any people that I play with regularly or really at all that are around equal skill to me. And playing online and going up against other people and really trying to like grind out and get better just hasn't appealed to me in a long time. By now, I think a decent amount of people know I used to play Smash semi-competitively. Like, I went to tournaments and never did well. And I tried really, really hard to get better. I put a whole lot of time into it, and I have very little to show for it. And because of all that time I spent basically getting nowhere, I've effectively all but given up on Smash. And I only play it socially nowadays. Mochi says, so I haven't been on your stream in a long time because I have work, but will you be making some Tarkov content again? I've been watching you since some of your older Tarkov vids from years ago and I missed them. I'm sorry, Mochi, no. And I laughed at this because I got these last night and I forgot about all the questions, so I'm basically reading them for the first time again. And so I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I was not ready to read Tarkov on here. Short answer, no. Longer answer, well, let's go. Tarkov is not on my list of things that I want to play anymore. Mostly stemming from the Wiggle video. Notorious. I would be surprised if you hadn't heard of it, but in case you hadn't, somebody basically went on, they got hacks, and they went into a bunch of games, and they wiggled at people through walls, and people with wall hacks would wiggle back. In other words, like identifying themselves as a cheater. This person compiled their data, and their estimate was that about 60% of every single Tarkov game that you play will have at least one person cheating in it. Tarkov is one of those games where if one person is cheating, it very, very, very easily ruins the whole game. And if I'm going to be playing a game where 60% of the time I could run into someone who's cheating, that's a real problem. I'm someone who used to be a cheat denier. I thought that there were very little cheaters in the game, but it's kind of hard to argue with stuff that's right in front of your face. And the real problem now, for me, when it comes to Tarkov, is that every single time I'd die, I'd question whether it was somebody that was legit or if they had wall hacks and knew where I was the whole time. I'd have no idea. And that level of skepticism all the time is something that I already see basically ruin the game for other people before I knew this. And so now it'll ruin the game for me. As it stands, not really any plans to play Tarkov. I've uninstalled it off my computer. And so while it's my most played game of all time, somehow, I'm probably just done with it. And the last question, which was just on here, specifically to throw me under the bus, so I'll get off my ass and do it. And it's from Funny Bait Name, and they say, are you gonna continue the Subnautica series? No, I'm not gonna end the series with the first game. I'm going to play the second one. I will. I promise. I will.